Greetings. My name is Omar, and I'll be your digital forensics expert testifying on behalf of the United Kingdom. A qualified expert witness must show proper knowledge, skill, and experience in regards to the subject matter. The main goal of a digital forensics examiner is to collect, identify, and validate evidence for the benefit of the legal proceeding. Legal challenges that we face on an international level are national versus global legislation, laws not being up to speed with time, and limits on the scope of application. Limits on scope of application. With certain rights on the national level, it seems that it is a challenge to truly protect all public and private sectors. Just because there are certain privacy laws that are made to protect you does not mean with the right scope of application that the judge cannot request the cooperation from said vendor, such as FBI versus Apple, to turn over or unlock certain technological devices in order to help the proceedings. Piggybacking on that, we see how laws affect e-discovery all the time. With privacy regulations, there are laws that prevent dissemination of customer and employee information. But with such regulation, there are a constant battle with can and cannot be used as evidence in a hearing. For example, we have LLC versus Microsoft, which recently argued that the retention and the production of the data relevant in a patent infringement case raised tension. Nonetheless, The court ordered retention and product finding that the benefit of the data, which was relevant and proportional, outweighed the burden of expense and compliance. Another challenge that we see is simply acquiring data from foreign soil. Challenges that we see acquiring data from foreign soil may be slow processes in obtaining evidence, chain of custody, and forensic expertise. When we're talking about slow process in obtaining evidence, not everybody's system is as efficient and effective as others. So therefore, trying to obtain evidence from maybe a more impoverished country or what have you might take a lot longer than you trying to obtain evidence from, for example, the United States. Also, chain of custody, making sure the integrity is not compromised, and that is a big thing because once the chain of custody is broken and the integrity can no longer be verified, then the evidence will ultimately be thrown out in court. And so it's very imperative that we have the chain of custody within different foreign countries to be held up to the same standard. So when you're trying to have an expert testimony on an international level, the forensics examiner can say with all validity that this is exactly what it said it is. In this chart below, you see the procedure that we use to gather evidence. We have the recovery, interpretation, and presentation. The recovery phase is simply actually extracting the data that we're looking for from said device. The interpretation phase is us analyzing the data and seeing what actually can be used for the case and what can't be used for the case, and what's imperative and what's not. And then we have the presentation, which is when we actually go and the present the final analysis to proper authorities. Challenges that we see in regards to cloud storage and digital evidence is that with cloud storage, data can be quickly changed. It can also be rapidly overwritten by another user, resulting in relevant information loss. Law enforcement can ask service providers across to access the data on the cloud, but because of its typical offsite or it being out of the country, investigators will use mutual legal assistance treaties to ask local law enforcement to issue warrants for said data. These type of things can take months, even years to retrieve said data. And through that time, like I stated earlier, data could be quickly changed and overwritten rapidly, which causes a major challenge when trying to extract certain digital evidence with cloud storage. One key conflict between ethics and international laws are privacy and protecting the greater good. Conflicts seem to arise when trying to access data and infringing on privacy laws. For example, let's say we see that a hospital has witnessed a cyber attack, and through the investigation, we see that it may be one of the patients that may have actually initiated this attack. Now, due to HIPAA laws, we're not allowed to just search and request all the patient's information because they have a right to privacy. But due to the nature of the case, the nature of the attack, we may have to just put aside that privacy law in order to protect the greater good. And in order to get to the mystery of who's actually behind the attack, even though them releasing the statement of who all their patients are to narrow down that search would be a violation of ethical code in the with the HIPAA agreement. The two biggest types of attacks that we witnessed during this investigation are a denial of service attack and a ransomware attack, where we saw the denial of service attack attacked our main server and tried to deny us access onto the network. And we saw that the ransomware attack that came in the form of a phishing attack when an employee opened up a malicious document via email. A few of our mitigation strategies that we implemented was a plan of action milestone, where we created a plan on how to track risk mitigations activities. Also, we use the Nessus Scan network and Wireshark in order to look at the IP addresses and ports that are open, cloud-based protection, security training that we implemented that we have annually, and also every 6 months, depending on the type of training that we're implementing, because we know that with a lot of ransomware attacks, a lot of phishing attacks, it just comes from user error. We're going to encrypt the data that's stored on our network, antivirus software such as McAfee, two-factor authentication, so it makes it just a little bit harder for malicious persons to try to hack into our systems, and spam filters that will alert us when suspicious email comes through. This concludes the digital forensics expert testimony. Once again, my name is Omar and I represent the United Kingdom. Thank you.